So I decided between episodes that it might be a good idea to expand the suburbs just a little bit. And I also figured that turning these guys into districts might not be a terrible idea. So we have the district of Linden Crest here by the water, and we have Blackwood Croft up there by the elementary school. And the reason I did that is because a few of these guys were complaining about not having good enough services. When we go in and click on a building, hover over happiness, we could see that there were some issues. Now they're pretty happy because they have reliable mail, they have reliable healthcare, they have reliable everything, and the only issue seems to be the taxes, which we'll deal with that soon enough. But the other benefit to having the districts, as we've talked about in the past, is that you can assign emergency services to a district. So I built a firehouse, and this firehouse only operates in these two districts. I built a police station that only operates in these two districts. And I built a medical clinic that, yes, it only operates in these two districts. Obviously, I also expanded Blackwood Croft just a little bit. I've added another roundabout to the highway, which isn't really causing too many issues. I'm glad that it's not causing too many issues as well. I think this just looks better. I really do. I like having this second entrance to this suburb. I like having these little cul-de-sacs here. And I've seen a few people talking about the fact that you don't need to do this. You don't need to use roundabouts at the ends of your roads. And I know you don't. I know there are plenty of neighborhoods where roads don't have sort of a bulbous cul-de-sac thing at the end. I just like the look of it. I think it looks cool from a distance. It kind of looks more like a cul-de-sac to me. It's my idea of what these things look like. It's the type of cul-de-sac that I grew up in. So, I mean, it wasn't a roundabout, but you get what I mean. It was that bulbous sort of thing at the end. Anyway, it's just an aesthetic thing. You don't need to do it. I just like how it looks. Now, in other news, I've been having a bit of a look through our various needs and wants at the moment, and I've been looking at education because even though we built another elementary school, we are quickly approaching capacity again. We're not quite there, but we will be as and when the population increases, which it constantly seems to want to do with low density residential. High schools honestly aren't so bad. College is what has me worried. There's 4,196 people eligible for college. There's 1,172 eligible for university. And education is key to getting people to do other things in Cities Skylines 2. So I do want to focus a little bit on education. I also want to see, yeah, I had a feeling this tower. So we only ever seem to have a couple of households in here. They're unhappy, poor education, small homes, lack of entertainment, high noise pollution. We can fix a lot of that. The education is going to be my main thing today. Looking at you, poor education is kind of a big one. Looking at you, it is going to be poor education, lack of entertainment. So we can deal with a lot of that. I do think education it is currently a massive bottleneck. So I'm going to bulldoze you. It is going to instantly rebuild because we have that high density demand, which it only exists because that tower was abandoned. Long story short, I want to build a college on this island. I think this would be a really cool place to turn into a sort of college island thing. And the college is relatively, it's expensive. It's $750,000. It's $225,000 a month, but it can be upgraded. It is a pretty large building, and I'm pretty sure I can use this island to do some cool things. I'm thinking we can do some more sports stuff out here, maybe an American football field, but we need to get over to the island first. And you know, I think this might just do the job. This is a pretty good looking bridge. It's kind of fancy. It has the right vibe that I want for going over to the college, which should be sort of a prestigious thing that people do, right? I feel like the city is going to want to invest in the college. The college is going to want to give back to the city and all that stuff. So they're like, let's celebrate this partnership with a beautiful bridge. Good old Morton Bridge. I might just keep that name, honestly. I forgot that this game, a lot of the time I do forget that this game does have road names and things like that. So yeah, Morton Bridge, that's what we're going to go for. This is basically how people are going to get here. We're probably going to build a little footbridge over to the neighborhood though, because I feel like that's probably a solid investment. It means that you don't have to drive from here onto the highway into the city, down through this neighborhood, and then across this bridge. You can just go straight across. So I guess at this point, we want to figure out where the college is going to go. Now, the good news is that this road is parallel to this road, so everything's still sort of on my grid or at a 45 when compared to my original grid, so I'm okay with that. And I've also flattened this island just a little bit, kind of like when you chop the top off of a cake after it's sort of risen and given you that, like the dome on top. That's basically what I've done to this island. And I hate to say it, but I'm also going to get rid of the trees. I'm going to get rid of the trees because I just don't need them right now. And we're going to do some of our own landscaping here. So we're going to just clear all of these out. By the way, just in case you didn't hear it in the last video or you didn't watch the last video, you can, as I'm doing here, remove a bunch of trees with the tree brush. The only thing you need to do is turn off the remove only matching type option and then just hold right click and it will go nuts, removing absolutely everything. So this is the island that we're dealing with. Very, very barren now, but that's okay. I also forgot I had my sewage here. We might, that is nastier looking than in City, at least in City Skylines 1, it was more of like a gray. This time around, it's very much just, what was it we called it back in the day? Schwatter. Yeah. This time around, it's very, oh God, it's got like a, I don't know if that's like an effect of the pollution. Does it do it over here? It does. Okay. I mean, it just looks like an algae blue. Anyway. Anyway, enough about the brown water. Don't drink the brown water. That's good life advice, probably. What we'll do is go ahead and just bring ourselves some roads over here. I'm probably not going to stick to using these giant avenues, but the good news is, oh, that is not flat. Interesting. At the very least, we can use it to sort of measure everything out. And I think what I'm going to do is I am just going to go in here now that I can see the contour lines, and I'm just going to flatten everything. This island is going to look a little bit less natural for the time being, but eventually I'm going to go ahead and smooth it out, try and make it look a little bit better. But for now, I kind of just need the land to be nice and flat so I can do what I want to do with this. And so looking at the college, honestly, it's going to fit really nicely back here, but I'm tempted to sort of put it front and center and then try and slip a little pedestrian road down either side so we can put something like an American football stadium back there. Do we have animals? We do. Oh, I'm so sorry. I've got rid of your home. I can name the deer. All right. You're going to be Brian is what you're going to be. That's going to be Brian the deer. Can I follow the deer? Man, I wish I wish I could click on the deer and follow it like any other NPC. That'd be so good. All right. That's technically Brian the doe, isn't it? Well, yeah, that's fine. That's, that's all right. Okay. We'll leave him be. Let him do his thing. He's not going to be going to college. He's a deer, but he can dream about it. Okay. So like I said, I don't think I'm going to keep this main road coming in here. What I'm almost inclined to do is split this off, kind of similar to what we did over here with a little one-way thing. So a one-way road goes down in front of the school and then sort of loops back to the main road. We will need parking out here as well, probably. So let's very quickly do that. So after some messing around, I decided I would just stick with a regular 4-lane road. I went with the one with the median. I put some trees and some grass on it so it looks a little bit fancier. And honestly, I think it looks the part. We also have the pedestrian streets going down the sides here, so no one's going to be driving down behind this thing. And I've also realized that it doesn't have sewage coverage right now, which is funny considering what's right here. So let's very quickly go ahead and figure that out. I guess it makes sense that sewage does not go across a bridge, but it can go underneath it, which should now have you okay, I think. Yeah. So this now has everything that it needs. It will gradually fill up with students, which is okay as well. I'm debating whether or not it would be worth adding a little bus station out here. That's probably overkill. It's probably completely unnecessary. And the size of it, yeah, I don't really feel like it. I would like to do trams as well. I think trams would be such a good shout. And you can place you can put trams straight on these roads as well, which I'm very excited about. I very, very much like that idea. You can also do them on just one side of the road, which is neat. I do like that a lot. They don't loop around, which is a little bit unfortunate, but I might just do, well, I don't know. I guess it does look like it gets rid of one of the lanes, which I don't necessarily love. Can I put trams across this bridge? I totally can. We might have to do some trams out here. I do want to get a loop of trams around the city at some point, so we might have to do that. That might be a good idea. But before we do, I want to look at the upgrades for the college. The extension wing is 300,000. It is 55,000 a month. It is more student capacity. And right now, this thing only holds 100 students. So up to 1,500 would be good. We have like 4,000 eligible. And then this is going to do what? Better chances of graduating. Is this just a, yeah, this is just a building I can place anywhere. Interesting. Okay. I almost wonder if it would be good here and then maybe do another one at the back so we have a little bit of asymmetry. I kind of like that idea. I'm going to get rid of this road is what I'm going to do. And we're going to place two of these guys. They're 50,000 a month. They're super expensive, but it does increase the chances of students graduating and it gives us that little bit of asymmetry. And I kind of like that. I like that you don't necessarily see the college until you're past this building and then, you know, boom, there's the spire. There's this super wide building. I like that a lot. It also lets me play a little bit with paths. I can bring those around here, connected up to all these little entrances. Gives me space to do landscaping, which I'm excited about. So let's just flatten this out a little bit more so I can continue to bring that road back there. And let me flatten this. I didn't really want to get rid of too much of this little bit, but I'm going to just do this so I can get a path in there. And then I guess what we'll do is just bring this guy back a little bit further. And I suppose we'll take a look at our large parks because we do have some options. We have the American football field, which actually fits really nicely in there. I like that a lot, but I'm almost wondering if just putting it back there would be the right shout. We have got the community pool as well, which I don't dislike. We also have the soccer field, and then we have some smaller ones. We have the tennis courts. We have the outdoor gym. We have the skate park. I should turn off the overlay so we can see these properly. We have the tennis court. We have the outdoor gym. We have the skate park, which I don't think we're going to be placing. And we have the basketball courts. So I don't think we necessarily need to look at this building as a library or either one of them. They are obviously functionally libraries, but you know what I mean? They can be anything we want them to be. So what I think we'll do is we'll bring a little stretch of road over here. And I think this will be a nice little spot for that to go. And then I wonder if the American football field would look good on the other side of that, or if it's going to be a little bit too close to everything. It is honestly not a bad place. I think it's a little close. I think we could go a little further back with this road, maybe put it like here instead. So we're going to leave ourselves a little bit of space between this road on the left and everything else, which I'm kind of okay with. So we'll do this, which is nice and level. And then that's where I think the American football field can go. So right about there. And I don't mind that. I don't mind that. A little bit of space between the sports stuff and the library or whatever we consider this building to be. I can do some landscaping around here to make this look like a park or something. Although, in saying that, the temptation to bring this road down here, I wish I could bring it a little further so it connected properly. Maybe, oh, how do I want to do this? Maybe I bring it down to here and I'll use a little section of path to connect it all together. The reason I want to bring that there though, is because what I can do is I can go into the regular sports parks. I can get some tennis courts. And I like the idea of this being like a sporty section of the college. I think that would be kind of cool. I don't love the basketball courts. I think we will go for tennis courts. And I think what we'll do is we'll just do two of them. We'll just do two of them right there. It adds a little bit of color. It breaks things up a little bit. I think if anything, I'm going to move these down a little if it's going to let me, which I don't think it's necessarily going to. So I'm going to move this one and see if it'll let me move it down to like here. And if I move it down to there, I mean, I'm going to have to extend the road, I think. Yeah, that looks a little bit silly. We'll have to extend the road, but that's okay. The reason I want to move it there though, is again, we have this sort of open space. I can do some landscaping. I can do some trees. I can make it look all good. And that's kind of what I'm going for at this point. So that'll be fine. This road here, I think just for the sake of symmetry, I'm going to bring it down this way. I don't necessarily love it, but I think it's probably fine. We can bring a little pedestrian path back here, do some more landscaping around all of this. And I think some landscaping around this space in general is going to be really good. I think this will probably be some kind of park, which I'm totally okay with. How are we doing in terms of students? 28. Okay. We're going to need some public transport out here. We're also going to need some parking out here. So let's take a little bit of a look at parking to start with, since it's a pretty major infrastructure. We're probably not going to go for the super large parking lot. I don't know that I want to put it right in front of everything. This one's not so bad. We can maybe do 2 of these. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't love it, but I mean, parking is it's going to be necessary out here, you know? It is going to be necessary. So maybe that's what we go for. We'll decorate around that as well. And then down here, I mean, down here could be anything. If we have a look at our education again, I mean, college has a lot of people. High school is fine. Elementary school. I don't think I want to put any more education on this island. I also don't know that I want to put services on this island, but maybe some parks, maybe some entertainment, stuff like that might be a good idea. Is that tower abandoned again? It is, because we have high density demand. So let's get rid of you and you. We're slowly figuring this out. We just got to get people out to the college and they'll be a little bit happier. Okay, so I got slightly sidetracked and placed way too many paths, but I'm kind of liking what's going on here. I like that they're just sort of wildly following the terrain. In some places they can form and go around buildings or run parallel to roads, but in other places they just sort of weave and wind and go under this bridge. And I just think it's cool. I think it would provide a lot of cool spaces for people to just walk and chill, go out somewhere and study, or do whatever, go under the bridge and do whatever people in college do under bridges. I will leave that up to, well, yeah, anyway, they'll do something. I also like this bit. This is how it all sort of started. I like these really sort of natural shapes going on here. It almost reminds me of the patterns that you would see in like stained glass. That sounds so pretentious. I wasn't trying to make something that looks like stained glass, but the patterns and like the flow of it remind me of like stained glass or like stuff that people do with resin. So I tried to carry that sort of thing through here. I didn't quite do as good a job down here, but I just wanted something that looked interesting. And once we get a bunch of trees in here and once they start growing and covering some of these paths, I think this will look that much better. But before we do that, that's going to be like the last thing we do, to be completely honest with you. I want to line some of these roads with trees, and I'm really not looking forward to doing it. Before we do that, I do want to get some public transport out here, and I am thinking we are going to go for some buses. So we'll get an EU bus shelter right about there, which is unfortunately not going to be pulling into the side of the road, which makes sense because we have trees down here. But the reason I want the EU bus shelter is so we can very simply create a bus line that stops right there and a bus line that goes, ooh, I'm using all of these platforms. Okay, hold on a second. We can fix this. We can do extra platforms. And then I'll go and get that bus line from right about here. So from there, it's going to go into there and it's going to go straight back. And that's all it's going to do. That is going to be our college bus line. So at the minute, we might expand it. We might go further with it. But right now, the idea is everyone can just get a bus to this station and then catch a bus out to the college if they're not making their own way to the college for the time being. And I'm still strongly considering trams. I love the idea of trams. I think trams going around all these little row houses would be amazing. And honestly, we do have a little bit of an industrial space over here, which is maybe where we could build ourselves a tram depot. You know what? I'm going to go for it. I think trams would be such a cool little addition to this space. So this road's going to go away and we're going to place ourselves a tram depot right there. It fits perfectly, man. It is perfect. It is a huge building and we can expand it with a garage extension as well if we really want to, which is going to be a lot of money. So we'll leave it for now. But basically what I want to do is figure out where these are going to go. So we have City Hall right here. Can I put tram tracks on a pedestrian road? That's my question. I can. Interesting. Okay. So what if the trams loop around? They don't need to loop around City Hall. They could go sort of down here. They could go underneath the train tracks. They could sort of come down and around this space, maybe through this. I love the idea of them going through the row houses. I think that's such a cool idea. So I'm going to have to do that. I might just have a few different loops for tram. We're just going to do this. We're just going to do this is what we're going to do. I don't know how it's going to work. I might have to create a little loop for the trams at the end of this road, which would be really cool. But I'm going to put some tram tracks along here, which is going to reduce the number of lanes that we have available for traffic, I think. But that's okay. we're just gonna go for it. We're just gonna see what I can create here. All right, so the tram lines are in. I did forget that they don't just magically circle around anymore, so I did have to build a little circle here by the college. But if we go and have a look, we should, and we do, have some trams heading out, which is really, really exciting. I absolutely love this. They look pretty cool. I might change the color of the line to not be purple, but if we have a look at the line, we can sort of see where it goes. So we have a stop in front of City Hall, which I figured is probably a good place to have a tram stop. It then goes around and stops in front of the high school, which I figured was a good spot as well. It then comes out to the college. It stops alongside the college, so we're not doing anything for traffic on this main road. It goes and loops around, and then it comes out and stops next to these row houses. It stops down beside the row houses. These stops are all probably way too close together, to be completely honest with you. But I wanted to come down through the row houses just for the aesthetics on that one. I think a stop in front of the cemetery is sort of a lovely idea as well. I love this one here. It goes up between the row houses and the cemetery and then just back out at City Hall. Now we could go in the opposite direction. I'm not going to just exactly clone that line though. What I think I'm going to do is a tram stop right here. We're going to come back. We're going to sort of skip the row houses this time. We'll do a stop sort of opposite the buses. So we are sort of servicing this area. It probably would have made more sense to do it down here, to be completely honest with you. So we will do that, and we will go in and somehow try to bulldoze this tram stop. Very, very small thing to bulldoze, but that's okay. It is then going to go out to the college again. I think this time we'll just have it share a stop. I think that'll be okay. Does that loop around twice? No, it doesn't. It does pull in. The tracks are just highlighted in purple as well, which is a little bit confusing, but that's okay. So it's going to come along. It's going to stop here. And then it is going to want to stop in front of the high school, which I guess is fine. And we can have it maybe, I mean, those are close enough. They don't have to share those exact stops. And then in front of City Hall. So this is going to be a much shorter line, which is totally, well, I say much shorter. It's not that much shorter, but it's a little bit shorter. It is going to be looping across itself as it comes back out here, which I don't love, but it'll survive. It'll survive. I will live, so it will live. It's fine. So we'll do that right there, and that's going to be our second tram loop. I'm hoping we get a good number of people on these. They are 7.2 and 5.9 kilometers long, respectively. So here's hoping for some good stuff. I am noticing a lot of buildings getting abandoned here and there. If we look at their unhappiness, it is largely education. That is the problem. So getting these guys out to different education services is probably not a bad idea. And no vehicles on the tram lines. Interesting. So we're gonna need to upgrade you to carry a few more trams. And that is hopefully going to get rid of that problem. It absolutely did. So those trams can head out and do their thing. And I guess I'm just hoping that this little bit of public transport, I mean, it's already got some people using it. So I'm hoping that this little bit of public transport is going to start getting people out to the college in a big way. And then I guess I also forgot to build the footbridge over from this, from the neighborhoods to the college as well. But it's sitting at 59 people. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, we really need to get some people over here. This looks cool though. I love the trams coming in here. That is a cool vibe. I like that a lot. They do. It's a very sharp bend up there. I wouldn't want to be on the tram when it goes around that, but I'm sure it's fine. So I think when it comes to the pedestrian footbridge, we have this road right here, which seems like the ideal spot for this kind of thing to exist. So I'm going to bulldoze those two houses. The people aren't happy about it, but honestly, that's a them problem, not a me problem. And I'm really tempted to go with something fancy. I mean, this is like 10 times the price of a regular bridge, I'm sure, but we've used the covered one before. I've used the covered one over here. I didn't do it in the last episode. I did it between episodes, and I think it looks cool, and it does get used. There are people on it. I think the pedestrian arch bridge would admittedly match what we've done over here. So that, ooh, now that has me tempted to do a little something here. Hold on a second. If I turn on all of this, I could have this little road. This little path could be essentially replacing, but it could be in the same spot as the other bridge. We could have it come straight off of here, which might look really interesting. So can I do that? I absolutely can. I would like this terrain to be a little flatter. I think that's going to be important. So we'll bring the brush size down a little bit, just so I've got some nice flat terrain to play with here for my little section of path, which is going to be right there. And then this guy just needs to be elevated. So we're going to bring this up. I'm going to try and bring it up to be as level as I possibly can. So plus 4% on the gradient there, plus 0.4, 0.3 now. I think that's probably acceptable. So we'll bring that out. We'll bring this straight across. It's nice and level for the time being. Plus 0.1, negative 0.1. We'll go for the negative 0.1. And then this just needs to run pretty much straight through these houses and straight up to this road, which is not going to be the easiest thing to do, I don't think. I mean, we can get it to be relatively level. That's actually not... Ooh, I don't like that. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, I don't like that at all. Okay, this side's going to have to be a little bit higher, I think. We're going to have to go up a little bit and try and get this to be level as it hits the other side. That's I know it shouldn't be important. I know it doesn't really matter, but it matters, okay? It needs to be perfect. This is like our signature feature bridge here, right? It's gotta be good. So as much as I love the idea of duplicating this sort of theme on the other side, it doesn't really look as good because you have to have these really short little segments in here. What does look better though, is if I go and just tear this out and replace it with the cable-stayed pedestrian bridge, this thing is pretty nice, honestly. It's maybe a little bit too fancy. It obviously doesn't match the theme on the other side. And yes, it's kind of a weird looking thing behind these little houses. And obviously, yes, this had to loop around in a weird way, but honestly, I don't mind this. And once these trees grow, it'll look pretty good here. Honestly, I think it's fine. I think it does the job. It does what I need it to do. It gets pedestrians from the suburbs over to the college. And I think that's going to be kind of important. I'm not 100% sure if they're actually going to use the bridge. I've got no idea. I don't know if anyone over here wants to go to college. I'm sure they do. It's just that right now I have no idea. We do, however, have a decent number of people coming out here. I've also got to update all these trams so they have the proper color. I've changed them out to be red because I think it looks pretty cool. And I also changed the number of trams per line, which honestly, looking at it, there's only 7 people on board there. There's 1 on board there. I could probably bring the number of passengers per tram line down considerably. It's 904 people per month right now. It's 34 passengers and, 29 passengers. I think we can safely say that maybe the ticket prices come down to like $3 and maybe we'll do 4 vehicles on each of the lines. I think we can probably safely get away with that. It's going to be a case of just trying to make this thing as I don't know. What did I do in the other one? 3 or 4? Anyway, we'll do 3 vehicles in this one. We'll do $3 tickets on line 2. And then line number 1 was 3 and 4. That's fine. Yeah. So we'll bring those numbers down just to try and encourage people to use the trams. I want to get people going into college, but honestly, I think this is a good development. I think this is a good thing to have in the heart of the city. I've been wondering what I'm going to do with this island for a while, and I'm kind of pleased with it. So now the only thing left to do to this island is a bit of landscaping, which in a lot of places is going to be a bit wild, but in a few specific places, I want it to be really neat. So I'm going to be relying on the poplar trees. I'm a big fan of those. Although we could look at different types of trees. We have got these spruce, we have got the apples, we have the hickories and the lindens as well. Oh, I feel like using linden trees at what is essentially Linden College kind of makes sense. I think using at least a few of these kind of makes sense. So I'll use them in these spaces here just to sort of fill up these gaps, and I'll go a little bit closer with them so that if and when they grow, they're a decent size. They're also annoyingly off center. So let's try that again. And wouldn't you know, it has taken me so long to place all of these trees and these paths and the trams that it's full again. I'm not complaining. I absolutely love the colors on the trees. It is my favorite season. It looks absolutely beautiful. And I'm so excited for all of this to just grow and start to look better and bigger and just like it all, it's been here for a while. There are some places where I decided to be a little bit more neat with my trees. So there are some of these guys, these little linden trees that are going to grow alongside these trees in the middle here. And then back here, it's sort of a similar story. We have these hickory trees that will grow at some point as well. So there are some places where the trees have been placed very deliberately. There's also a lot of oak trees that I've placed in specific spots that are going to grow a little bit bigger than a lot of the other trees. So that's going to look pretty cool once they all grow in eventually. It's just going to take a little bit of time for all of that to happen, which is okay. It's not the end of the world. It is absolutely not the end of the world. How are we looking here? 164 students. That is, I mean, that's better than it was. That is definitely better than it was. I'm kind of wondering if we go and have a look over here, are we still getting complaints about education? So there's no one living in this tower right now. That's a bit of a problem. What about here? So high taxes are a problem. Poor education is a -2. High noise pollution is a -1. So I almost want to say, I mean, looking at this one, I'm not seeing anything about education unless I'm blind. So I think we might be slowly fixing the education. So these guys have a -1 in education as well. Let me have a look here. Are there a lot of people waiting for buses to the college? It doesn't look like it, which is a little bit unfortunate. I was really hoping there would be. I think my public transport network might just suck. That's kind of what I think is going on here. And you know what I've realized? I haven't looked at this road with the trams going down it, and I kind of love it. I want to see a tram come down here. Oh, look at that. Look at that. How good is that? I love it. I love it so much. It looks so good. Oh, and would you look at that? We are also a small city. We just got to milestone 10, which is absolutely fantastic. Let's have a look here. What did we get? We got loan limit increases, which obviously we got high density offices. I'm excited about this one. High-speed highways removes highway speed limits, traffic flows faster, but noise pollution increases and traffic accidents are slightly more likely. So an Autobahn, basically. I've been on that once. That was a terrifying experience because I forgot that the Autobahn exists. First time in Germany, I was actually, funnily enough, I was there for Paradox for Stellaris on console, and I got in a cab from the airport, and yeah, I look out the window, I'm thinking, man, we look like we're moving fast. Turns out we were. Combustion engine bans. Fuel burning vehicles are forbidden from entering unless they belong to district residents or businesses. Reduce noise and air pollution within the district. I like that idea. And city promotion will advertise the city's attractiveness, bringing in more tourists, unfortunately increase the crime around tourist attractions. That's some cool policies. In terms of development, I mean, a grand bridge seems pretty good. I'm going to be honest. I am sort of looking into other infrastructure options as well. I think water would be good. I don't think we need any of this. I mean, the main thing we're struggling with right now is sort of education. That's kind of the big thing. And there are a lot of university eligible people. So we'll get the university since it's only 2. We can go for a technical university, which is academic learning for the technically oriented, increases the efficiency of offices and industrial companies. And the medical one increases the efficiency of healthcare buildings. I like those. This is geological research and field studies, helps discover larger underground deposits of ore and oil. This is a radio telescope, and it will increase the likelihood of university students graduating. That seems pretty cool. And then the Large Hadron Collider, we'll get to that eventually. I don't know that there's much I want in here. Disasters are a thing, and I haven't got them turned off, so that's fair enough. Prisons hold criminals. Seems like fair enough, you know, that makes sense. Central Intelligence Bureau investigates severe criminal activity. Okay. Lowers crime rate citywide. That's pretty cool. And a central bank houses stock and resource traders, as well as financial advisors and loan officers. It will lower loan interest rates, reduce the price of imported resources, and increase export profits. That seems really useful. It looks like a really cool looking building as well. In terms of public transport or transportation in general, I don't really need anything for water. Subways, I think, would be good. I think what I'm going to do is spend some time researching. I've said this before, I will probably say it again, but I'm going to spend some time researching efficient public transport networks. And then maybe in the next episode, I might spend some time rebuilding all of my public transport networks. I don't know if I want subways. I don't know if I'm interested in subways just yet. Eventually, yes. Same with airports. I don't know that we need it yet. Eventually, yes. In terms of parks, I mean, tourist attractions provide entertaining and cultural attractions for tourists. That'd be kind of cool. Post-sorting facilities is fine. This is just for outside connections, I think. Server farm. I don't know that we need any of this. I don't know that we need anything, to be honest. That's kind of the funny thing here. Industrial waste processing will collect and handle toxic waste products resulting from industrial production. As a result, the ground pollution produced by industrial buildings is lowered. That's nice. So there's some, so the later stage stuff is super good. But I think what I'm going to do is get tourist attractions because I want to see what those are all about. They're right here. And there are some cool ones. We have this thing, we have the bronze statue as well. We have the water park and we have a medieval castle, which is very exciting as well. These things are all very expensive. The observation tower is huge as well. But I love the idea of taking some time, maybe while we're rebuilding our public transport. I kind of want to come in here and tear a lot of this apart. I've said this before, but I really want to pull this apart and start to kind of rebuild what we have going on in here. Also, just want to point out we have a little bit of medium density residential demand creeping in there. So we should see some of this space start to fill up. And you know what? Just to be weird, because I can, I'm going to do NA housing here. I know that we don't, I know it doesn't match the houses behind, but I don't think I've ever done a direct contrast from one side of the road to the other for the row housing. So I just want to see what exactly the difference is. But it is good. We're starting to see all these other demands creep in, which means that I think that means that education's working. We're up to almost 300 people in the college. That's good. That's going to be more people using the public transport. That's going to be more people wanting to move out of different houses. That's hopefully going to mean that this thing stops. Yeah, there's 54 households in here. We're at almost 21,000 people. This is good. This is very good. They're also not complaining about education anymore. There's an abundance of entertainment. High taxes are a problem. We'll deal with that. High noise pollution. We can maybe deal with that. Small homes. I mean, you live in a tower. Deal with it. But that's good. So what do these look like? Let's have a little look here. So this is the NA. So it's the only difference really that these have a flat front to them. These don't. These have a sloped roof and these don't. I mean, that looks to be, oh, this one's nice. I like this one a lot. They're not bad. They're definitely not bad. I can see that there is a, yeah, there's a bit of a difference between them. I don't think these ones really, I don't know if they match or I don't think I'll ever notice. If I was to zoom out right now and forget about this, I would never notice that these buildings were here, but just because I'm here, I'm going to replace them with the European ones. So we'll bulldoze you guys. They're not going to be very happy about that. They just moved in, but you know what? They can deal with it. We'll do the European ones right there and that'll be totally fine. And I guess while we have that medium demand, let's also have a look. Let's see. Do we want to do mixed housing? Do we want to do medium density housing? I want to say a little bit of medium density housing wouldn't hurt. We do have some empty space around here, like in these spots. So let's just replace that with some medium density housing. And that still hasn't got rid of all of the demand, but it's going to make this area look a little bit more interesting. What's also cool is that a lot of these guys have built around here. So these are higher density commercial buildings. Admittedly, a few of them are becoming abandoned. They're unhappy because of poor education services, but it is good that these guys are starting to build up just a little bit. So I think what I'm going to do, because we have these lower density buildings here, is I'm just going to go in. We do have the high density offices as well, skyscrapers and large office buildings. That's very exciting. We also have these North American high density buildings, North American style supermarkets, malls, hotels, big movie theaters, concert halls, theaters, fitness centers, and department stores. And if I go to European, they are exactly the same thing. And I'm also realizing I don't think I swapped back to European for these. I did not. I built the North American ones again. All right, so with 329 people signed up to the college, I think we can call this a success. We're doing pretty good in terms of money. The population is above 21,000 now as well, which is lovely. We're seeing demand creep in for things that aren't just low density residential, although we are seeing continued demand for low density residential. So we might want to build another suburb over here just to try and put a bit of a dent in that. Let me know in the comments below if that's something that you want to see in the next episode, or if it's something I'll go ahead and do between episodes. We built 2 suburbs in the last one already, so I don't want to get too repetitive with things, especially since we're just getting started. But let me know either way. If it ends up being a thing to do between episodes, then I'll quickly throw together a suburb, and like always, I can show you it when we start the next one. As for the next episode, I think I will spend some time, like I said, doing a bit of research just to learn sort of more efficient public transport systems. And I'm also really liking the idea of pulling apart a lot of this downtown space and actually turning into a bit more of a downtown space. I want to try and get a skyline, and I want to start filling in a lot of these gaps as well with different sort of medium density developments and things like that. I want to try and get a little bit more sprawl going on right now. Everything feels very disjointed, but in saying that, filling up this island with the college has definitely made it feel a bit more like everything's coming together. I know it's just one little project, but I like this a lot. I really like how this has turned out. So hopefully you do as well. Either way, thank you so much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.